You ever have one of those moments where life feels like it's writing its script? Like fate decided to throw you into an emotional roller coaster without asking if you were ready? That's exactly what happened to me last week. A chance encounter with an old high school classmate turned into a deep, raw conversation about grief, identity, and the messy business of growing up. And honestly, it left me questioning everything about myself, him, and how we see each other after all these years. Let me set the scene for you. Last the 26th of January, his dad passed away. So today he flew from the US to the Philippines for the funeral. We hadn't seen each other since our batch reunion 2 years ago. But here we were, crossing paths again in the most unexpected way. I was biking through town when a car pulled over and told me I'd dropped something near a traffic enforcer, a lady who had just been on the receiving end of my random act of kindness. Yes, I gave her some bread for merienda. Don't judge. It turns out it wasn't money I dropped, it was my wireless earphones. But as I turned around to retrieve it, guess who I saw walking toward me? Him. We recognized each other instantly. After exchanging heartfelt condolences, we started talking. He mentioned he was out for a walk, probably to clear his head or process his loss. Knowing what it's like to lose a parent and have no one by your side during that time, I offered him company. Sometimes, even strangers can share a space of understanding. And so, we walked. As we strolled, I suggested grabbing some takoyaki. You know, comfort food always helps, right? He didn't say much, but he followed along. While waiting for our order, things took a turn. He started asking questions, not about himself, not about his dad, but about me. Was I happy? Did I plan to finish my degree? Now, let me pause here because this is important. For context, I'm almost 30, and my college dreams were derailed back in 2018 when bad decisions landed me in jail. Since then, I've built a life for myself. I work as a virtual assistant, sporadically teach kids online, and manage to keep moving forward despite the setbacks. But finishing school? That dream died a long time ago. Still, hearing him ask those questions made me reflect. Here was someone genuinely interested in not interrupting, not judging, just listening. It felt strange yet comforting. But as the conversation went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being interrogated more than reconnected with. Why did I suddenly feel like the spotlight was on me? Then came the bombshell. As we waited for our takoyaki, which cost less than $2, by the way, he said, "Why don't I sponsor your education?" At first, I thought it was kind of sweet an offer born out of concern, but then doubt crept in. Was he doing this because he truly believed in me? Or was it his way of reminding me that, financially speaking, he was ahead of the game? Here's the thing. I'm not the same person I was in high school. Back then I was loud, competitive, and desperate to fit in. People called me that poor, annoyingly feminine kid. Fast forward to now, and I've grown into someone completely different. I identify as asexual, introverted, and content with my slower-paced life in a small town. Sure, I haven't finished college, but I've achieved plenty building my own house, working hard to afford the things I need, and finding joy in simplicity. But none of that seemed to register with him. When he commented on my curly hair and mustard yellow beanie, saying, "It's hard to believe you're not gay," I wanted to tell him that clothes don't define sexuality. Stereotypes are limiting. I'm proud of who I am now, even if it doesn't align with who he remembers. Instead, I stayed quiet. Maybe because I didn't want to ruin the moment. Maybe because I was still processing his offer. Or maybe because deep down I wondered if I was overthinking everything. Looking back, I realized that our meeting was bittersweet. On one hand, it reminded me of the importance of human connection, especially in times of grief. On the other hand, it forced me to confront insecurities I didn't know I still carried. Am I being unreasonable for feeling defensive? Am I reading too much into his words? Or is it possible that kindness can sometimes feel like a double-edged sword when you're not used to receiving it? What struck me most, though, was how differently we've navigated life. He comes from wealth, privilege, and success, a stark contrast to my journey filled with detours and self-discovery. Yet, despite our differences, we found common ground in shared pain. Losing a parent changes you. It makes you appreciate fleeting connections, even with people you barely know. So here's my question to you guys. Have you ever bumped into an old classmate and ended up having a conversation that shook you to your core? How do you handle situations where someone's kindness feels like both a gift and a challenge? For me, this experience was a reminder that growth isn't linear. Neither is healing. Sometimes the people we least expect to teach us something valuable are the ones who leave the biggest impact. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more reflections on life, identity, and the beautiful chaos of being human. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.